Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Sounds of the Diaspora, Artist to Artist, a conversation with yours truly, Dion Parson. I'm really excited about our guest tonight, and I know you guys, by the end of the show, you're going to be like, wow, this guy has done it all. What else is going on? And he has a lot more going on. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming to the Sounds of the Diaspora composer, pianist, arranger, promoter, and educator, the one and only Mr. Richard Johnson.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Glad to be here. Hello, Mr. Parsons.
How's it going, bro? How you
It's
doing?
good, everything's good. Playing,
Uh,
teaching, working out, life
yeah,
is good right now.
that's good. Well, you've always been on the move, man. You've been one of them guys with so many hands in a lot of different things, man. And you always do it with a smile. That's what I love about you.
Yeah, I mean that's important. One of the things I learned from my folks, my grandparents, my dad, is you're gonna have ups and downs, but hey, you gotta smile because people remember to smile.
Yeah. Speaking of your folks and your dad, you grew up in a musical family, correct?
Yeah, actually, my dad plays piano and organ, so I
Hmm.
would grow up hearing him practice at night. He plays in church every weekend, so me, and my brother and sister would fall asleep with him playing, practicing at like 12 at 1 in the morning. So for us, it's normal to just go to sleep when people are practicing, And then my grandmother sang in the church, my grandfather sang in the church, and it's kind of funny because my I have a cousin. She's a pretty huge actor in LA. A lot of people know her, and I was talking to her, and she was like, our great cousin is UB Blake," and I said, "What?"
What? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I didn't know either until about 7 years ago, and I asked my grandmother, and in the African American culture, like nobody really says each other's names. We all say, "Hey, it's Bebe," or "It's Peachy," or
Right.
everybody's got a nickname. So I was talking to my grandma about it, and I said, "Hey, do you know who UB Blake is?" And she was like, "UB Blake, who is that?" I was like, "He's this world famous pianist from Baltimore. He wrote Memories of You and all this stuff." And she's like, "I don't know." And then my dad was like, "Oh, you got to say the nickname." And I said, "The nickname." And she was like, "Oh, he used to just bang on the piano when we were little." And I was like, "Bang on the piano?" And she was like, "Oh, yeah, that was my cousin, whatever." So I was like, "What?"
Uh,
It's pretty crazy.
ah, that's funny. No, actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't know either till my actor cousin told me. And she was like, "Oh, yeah." So
Yeah. So it's kind of in your genes.
I guess you could look at that. I've been blessed to be around good people, good family, and then some of his genes, a lot of his discipline. Though I like to tell my students, hey, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't practice and shed on it,
Mhm.
somebody's going to walk right past you, and you won't even know
Right,
it.
right. But discipline not only on your craft but outside. Because ever since I've known you, you're a runner. You always been very healthy. You take your health seriously and you exercise. I mean, I've been on the road with you, so I've seen you actually like make sure that stuff is cool. So tell our audience, especially our younger listeners, there's folks that listen to this show that's coming up in the industry, and they might need to know, like, not only do you take care of your musical health, but you also take care of your personal health.
Yeah, all facets of life is important, and when you're younger, it's a little bit more difficult to see the future or see ahead. And fortunately for me, I always had a pretty clear plan as to what I wanted to do, but always listened to my mentors. I didn't talk a whole lot, but I would listen and I would record everything so I could take it home and replay it and
Mhm.
catch all the stuff I missed. So the physical part is something that a lot of my older mentors like Jimmy Heath, James Moody, Clark Terry, Charlie Persip, all these guys I spent time with, they were like, "Look, you better take care of yourself now because when you get to my age, you
Yeah.
can't go back." So I was like, "Oh, if all of them are saying the same things
Right.
individually, there's a message here." So even if it may take 20, 30 minutes to do whatever your workout is, run, walk, swim, whatever it is, do it
Yeah.
because you will be thankful for it later on.
Yeah. I heard the same thing growing up, and it's funny that as a drummer, which is a more physical, you know, we have to be more physical doing what we're doing. I know a lot of drummers that work out, and I know a lot of drummers that don't work out also. And
Mhm.
but they always say, "Hey, you have to do something because as you get older, you start to feel it. You
Mhm.
wake up and you don't move as fast as you used to, and after
Yep.
the gig, you like everybody's like, let's go hang. He's like, no, we got 2 more nights on this tour. I'm gonna go back to sleep. I'm gonna go back
Yep.
to the room and get
Yeah.
some sleep. So yeah, it's important. But you've always been a good example of someone that just have done the right thing. I just wanted to share that with you.
Oh well, thank you. I'm trying to set an example, and I think that's what not just young people, but people in general need. I realize I'm not the young guy anymore. Antonio Hart and I were talking about this last night. We're playing this week at the Jazz Showcase. And he was like, I remember being on stage and I was the young guy. I said, yeah, I remember the same thing too. Now
Mhm.
our students are looking at us like, we're kind of the older guys.
Right, right.
So it makes you think when you start to come around that circle.
Yes, yes. Speaking of thinking, you've also been one of someone that's like been very focused on education and academics. You have several degrees, and you're still pursuing other degrees. So let's talk about your education. I know you went to Berklee
Mhm.
School of College of Music, and then have like since went on to do a lot of great things.
Yeah, so I finished high school, and a lot of people don't know this. When I was in high school, I finished north of Boston, so it was about 40 minutes in a town called Topsfield. So I
Okay.
finished early, and I would drive down to Berkeley, and I decided to learn how to tune pianos. And I decided that because I figured if I could work at Berkeley, I would start to meet teachers and students when I was in high school. So a lot of people thought I was actually going there when I was still in high school.
Okay.
So when I would tune pianos, I would pick up books and stuff students would leave on the floor, and I'd take them home and I read them all. Right? So then I would come back and take the test, and I would be like, "Oh, I know what this is. I read all this. Okay." So then I ended up finishing Berkeley in 2 years. I went through the summer. I was
Mhm.
like, I got to get in and out because I want to be on tour. I wanted
Right.
to go out and tour. And then after that, I got a master's from Boston Conservatory, which had a partnership with Berkeley at the time. Now Berkeley owns the conservatory. So I finished that in a year. And then I got into the Thelonious Monk Institute, which is now the Herbie Hancock Institute.
Right.
So I went straight into that. And that was great because we had different artists every week. Jimmy Heath, like I said, Clark Terry, Barry Harris, Ron Carter was in charge of my band for 2 years. So it was like boot camp for
Mhm.
jazz.
Mhm.
So I did that. So imagine somebody who was supposed to do 3 degrees, which typically takes 8 years. I did it in 4.
Right.
So when I finished that, I remember it was me, John Lampkin, Reuben Rogers, all of us. I remember the date, it was August 31st. We all went to New York. I was like,
Mhm.
I'm done with school. I've had enough. I was hitting it hard. I said, I'm ready to play. So yeah, so then I went to New York to do my thing. But then ironically, when I started teaching during COVID, I started reading my benefits. And I realized one of my benefits is that my job would pay for another degree. So now I was like, man, if I don't take advantage of this, I'm kind of throwing money out the window.
Mhm.
So that my passion, if I wasn't going to be playing music, was I would be a Spanish teacher.
Okay.
And a lot of people would always see me reading these Spanish books and when I was younger, but I was like, so I decided to get a Spanish degree. So I got my undergrad in Spanish in a year. I knocked it out. I went hardcore through the summer, took 5 courses. I was like, let me just do this in case they cut the benefits. So I did that. And then after that, I got a master's in Spanish and translations. I did the same thing. I went hard. So let me
Mhm.
just go ahead and get it done.
Right.
After that, I said, well, let me see if I can do this doctorate in education. So that's where I'm at now. I just finished the coursework last week, and now I just have to write. So I'll be spending the next 8 months. and a whole writing about mentorship in jazz.
Okay. And the degree, your doctorate degree is in
Education and leadership. Yeah, I
education.
decided not to do music because I have 3 music degrees
Mhm.
and I have 2 translation degrees, and I wanted something that was broader that would allow me to go in different directions if I wanted to. I knew if I did a DMA, that would limit me to like a conservatory or music school.
Right.
With the this doctorate, I can still do like a dean's position or whatever, but it
Right.
also will allow me to do something that's more administrative or corporate that the DMA wouldn't. So that's why I chose that.
Okay. That's good. Like I said, man of many talents, man. It's beautiful. So you're pursuing all of that now, but in the past you did some really interesting projects. Because I remember at
Mhm.
one point you were living in Atlanta
Mhm.
and you were working for the NBA.
Yeah. So this is what happened. So I was playing with Jazz and Lincoln Center in the big band. So I did that for a while. Played with Wynton Marsalis, the quartet, the septet, the big band, and then I moved to Atlanta to buy a house, and I was flying back and forth. And then after my tenure ended with Jazz at Lincoln Center, I kind of took that model and I wanted to do something that merged improvisation and hip hop. So one of my favorite groups was the Roots.
Mm.
So I thought about it. I said, you know what, these cats are cleaning up. They had all the gigs, like hip hop, live music. I went to see them. And I said, well, let me just create another band that's kind of like similar to that. I said, there's McDonald's, there can be a Burger King. So then my brother called me and said, hey, the NBA is looking for a live band to do the games and remove all the music during the games, but they need somebody they trust. There's an audition, and you got to learn a bunch of tunes. So then I figured out kind of the format. I downloaded like, okay, what's the top 100 tunes right now? Found some guys that could play jazz and hip hop. They thought I was crazy. I
Mhm.
invited them to my house. I bought them food. I was like, I know you don't know me. I just got here, but I've got this idea. We were together for like 5 hours, and they were sitting there looking at me like, who is this dude, right? And I said, no, just trust me. I think it's going to work.
Right.
So we got together. We rehearsed for 2, 3 days, and then we went in and did the audition in the arena. The
Mhm.
arena was empty. They put us on a stage, and we just went hard, right? And then afterwards, a couple days later, they called and they were like, "Yeah, we want you to do this." So I ended up doing it was like 92 or 96 games. It was pretty wild, twice a week. And it was an experience because in Atlanta, that's where Ludacris was, Jermaine Dupri. I
Mhm.
mean, that it was popping then. So
Right.
at any given time in the arena would be those artists,
Right.
right? So I'd have on a headset and they'd be like, yo, Ludacris is here. And I'd be like, okay, is Little John with him? Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, boot up, boot up,
Yeah,
boot
yeah.
up, boot up. And the whole crowd would go, wow. It was crazy, man. So that was a great experience because that energy with 20,000 people
Mhm.
is ridiculous.
Right.
And that's the good. There's also the bad,
Mhm.
which is sometimes the game would be tied like 103 to 104 and there would be like 2 seconds left. And I'd have to know all the players' go-to songs that would get them hype.
Right, right, right.
And if we went to the wrong song and they missed the shot and they lost,
Then it's your fault.
right, it got real dark. So that's why I bought these glasses. I bought
It's like, kill the
sunglasses.
man. It's on the man.
Yeah, I got these glasses so they couldn't see my eyes, and they'd be like, "No."
That's funny.
Yeah,
But yeah, that, I know that. And then you talking about the audience, having like 20,000 people in there. Sometimes it's just hard to hear how that arena can be. I've done halftime shows before, and it's so loud, man. It's like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah. You just
That's
got to fight your way through it.
yeah. That's when your cats or your guys, your band, the trust really comes in.
Hmm.
Because you've done it a bunch of times. But like you said, sometimes you can't hear. And
Yeah.
most of the time I give a count off was no more than 2 beats because you don't have time for 4. with the
Right.
game and everything and all the rules, so it's like, okay, we've done this, whether you can hear or not, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's been exciting. I mean, I think I think that's a model that should come back because when we were coming up, there was live bands everywhere, live bands and
Mhm.
television. Every entertainment factor had a live band. Now it's a
Yep.
DJ, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with DJs.
No, no.
But I'm just saying, I know that must have been really, really exciting to be part of that.
Oh yeah, to have that experience, and I was able to take a lot of things I learned from working with Wynton Marsalis and Ron Carter, all those foundational elements from jazz, and apply it. So
Mhm.
while we were doing that, we were also doing outreach programs with kids and going into schools. So it was great.
Mhm. And then also you were part of the team that developed Jazz at Lincoln Center overseas also.
Yeah, I started going over to uh, Dizzy's Jazz and Lincoln Center in Doha, Qatar,
Mhm.
and I went as just a musician. I went just to play, and Dominic Farinacci was there. He was the ambassador. He was in charge, and I heard some good things, some not so good things. But when I got there, the venue was beautiful. The people were cool, but I realized some things that may help the club. And
Mhm.
a lot of it came from the personnel. So like myself, it wasn't just artists being great. So it was awesome to play, but I started just talking to everybody. Like after I was done, even though I might be tired, I said, you
Mhm.
know what, I need to go and speak to every one of these people. And that helped me build a relationship with them. And I think that helped bring me back. I got to know people, meet people. And then by the time I left, they were like, can you stay? And I was like, no, I got to go back to teach. At that time, I was teaching in Wisconsin. And things work a little bit different in the Middle East.
Mhm.
They were nice, but they were like, we would like you to stay. And I was like, okay, how about I go and finish the semester and return?
Right, right.
And they were like, okay, we can accept that.
Mhm.
So then that's kind of what happened. And I started spending more time and ended up being there for almost 4 years,
Mm.
except for the summers when it's Ramadan because it's hot. It's like
Mhm.
120. Then I'm gone.
Right, 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 right. Yeah. Well, and that's great, man, because that brought. I know a lot of cats went over there to do that gig, and they always
Mhm.
have great things to say about it. Um, and I didn't know that you were the cat coordinator and all of that until years later. We
Yeah, a
have
lot of people didn't realize it. Some people knew, but it
yeah.
wasn't something I was actively promoting. But
Hmm.
that was one of the things I really enjoy doing. I mean, as well as I play and as much as I enjoy it, part of my skill set is the administrative things too, dealing with the visas, the contracts, all those type of things, the flights that, I had assistance and help, but still overseeing that.
Right.
That was a complete other job. And,
Hmm.
not everyone wants to do it, not everyone can do it, but I found it pleasurable because it helped me see the total picture
Right.
of helping the musician. It wasn't just let's do this song because we could do that, but it's like, okay, what does it take to get to that point,
Mhm.
and all the things that may stress cats out when they get there. So if I could alleviate that and make it better or easier, then that makes everything a better experience.
Yeah, and you said something that's important. Not everyone can do that because we know a lot of great musicians, but when it comes to organizing and administrating this, it goes out the window. I mean, even from a teaching perspective,
Mhm.
being here at the University of the Virgin Islands, being the chair, and I've brought so many cats down to hang out and do workshops and gigs, and then they see me running around. It's like, D, I couldn't do your job. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, they realize.
I look forward to getting on the bandstand. That's like the release. Whereas more
Yeah,
cats
that's
are
when it's time to
like,
have
on the
fun.
bandstand. That's
Yeah,
the fun part of the gig.
exactly.
So,
Yep.
so a lot of that ties in, is like it ties into being an educator because I'm sure your students they may not even notice, but they're getting a lot of information packed in for from you, and not just like, hey, this is how you play the piano, here's some 2-5-1 changes or alternate changes
Yeah.
on this song. They're getting a whole nother wealth of information on how to be a professional in this business.
Mhm. Yeah, for me, I call it the open door policy.
Hmm.
And literally my door is open at John Hopkins at Peabody Conservatory, unless I'm doing lessons. But they know they can come talk to me, they can ask questions. And it's not just about playing the piano. I've realized that to be a great musician, it takes a lot. It takes a
Right.
lot of information, takes a lot of patience, and you have to have someone you can ask questions that has been there and that you trust.
Hmm.
I think in this period, this era, that's worth even more, especially after the pandemic and just where we're at in the nature, the state of the world. So to find an institution or person like that, you may not realize the worth of it then. You may think you do, but you'll realize it much later. And that's the experience I had. So I try to pass that on uh, to my students because I tell them, record these lessons. I can go
Hmm.
back right now and listen to my lesson. And there's stuff I just forgot or I didn't understand what they were saying in that way at that time
Right,
because
right.
I was 22. It's different when you're 30 years older. It hits a little different.
Definitely, definitely. I was saying the same thing to a gentleman last night that I mentored, and he was very resistant, and I was recommending that he play bari sax. And he was like, "Man, I'm a tenor saxophone player," and now he played bari sax last night. He sounded amazing, and I was like, "He's like, yeah." He said, "I always knew, but I had to figure it out for myself." So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of times the elders, they see us in a certain place, we may not see it there.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
Yep. And we're just trying to pave that road, make it smoother for you because there's going to be bumps. It's
Oh
all
yeah,
about how you deal with it and what help you can get at the time.
yeah. Well, I still think that your students are really blessed to have you there, man, with all the information you have. Because, again, I know the few times we've been on the road, I've always walked off and be like, "Wow, I didn't know that about." Richard, it's always something else that I'm like, "Wow, I didn't know you did that." And it's really great to just see cats that versatile because when we were coming up, most cats they just played music.
Right. Yeah. And you could do that. You could
Yeah,
do that. I mean, there was a lot of clubs,
yeah,
but now, I tell my students, you have to look at this profession and see what you bring to it. Music is first. I tell my students it's like a circle.
mm,
And in this middle of the circle is music. So everything is like these lines, the wheels that come off of it. So there's these different things I do, like I run, I might speak Spanish, do administrative stuff, write grants.
mm.
But in the middle of that is still music.
Right, right,
So
right. It
don't
all
get it.
it all evolves around that.
Yeah, that's number one. Don't get that twisted.
Right,
Right.
right.
So you may see this thing, but it's still connected to this
Right.
piano.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
So
And in this day and age, man, with how the industry's running, like, nobody's getting signed to records. If you do a record, you got to do it yourself, then get a distribution deal, which is gonna
mhm.
be a percentage of something, and you got to write the music, you got to set up your own publishing, you got to do your social media
You got to
because
do it yourself.
getting a press person, I mean, it's great, but it's like, how's your social media looking? So there's so many factors of
Mhm.
just and you're the product. You're the product, but you're the manager, you're the PR person, you're the so you have to figure that out.
Mhm.
So to have someone like you who has done that, over the years, you can set a student up like, they can really walk off with a template, with a
Oh, yeah.
checklist of how do I get to the next level.
Yeah.
Whereas most cats have to figure that out along the way.
Yeah, and that's part of our mission statement at the conservatory. Sean Jones is the chair,
Hmm.
and it's, how do we set these students up to be individuals so they can succeed?
Right. Yeah, that's important. That's important. And
Yeah.
like you mentioned, it all comes back to the music.
It's always the music. If the music is right,
Mhm.
everything else will be tight.
Exactly, exactly. And speaking of the music, how many recordings do you have out as a leader?
I think eight or nine.
Eight?
Yeah,
Okay.
so not too many. I'm on several side
Mm,
recordings. I've done some leader stuff, but I'm happy where I'm at. I
mm,
could do more. I'm trying to do better quality and
mm.
still maintain all the other things I have.
Right, right. But as a leader, you've really, done great things and put out some really nice projects. You shared some of your music with us, and I wanted to kind of transition into that for
Sure.
time factor. But I know you have some heroes out there, some folks that have mentored you,
Oh,
and you have a CD about your heroes, correct?
yep. Yep. It's called Our Heroes, and it's dedicated to people who've helped us get to where we're at. For me, one of the important ones, there's several. It's hard to narrow it down, but when I did this CD, Chick Corea had just passed.
Mm,
And he was very instrumental. Him and Herbie in in my group. I mean, there's so many pianists I can name right now, and I have personal situations with all of them. But I'll just talk about Chick now because there's a song on that recording called Korea. When I first met him, I was in Boston playing at Wally's, and he walked into the jazz club, and he was in the back, so he heard several songs. And the club is small, and the drummer was like, "Hey, that's Chick Corea. Come on, you want to play?" And he came up. So I was
mhm,
like, "Oh man," I'm like, I don't know, 22. I get up off the piano. It's Chick Corea, you know?
mhm.
And he's like, "No, no, stay here." I was like, "What do you mean stay here?" He's like, "You're gonna sit right next to me as I play." And I'm
Okay.
like, "Really?" And he played the whole set, 75 minutes. And this is what he did. He'd play a tune, take a solo, and then he'd have me solo.
Okay.
And we did that for about 7 songs. So I could literally just sit there and watch him. And that was at that time one of the best experiences.
Mhm.
It's better than any kind of YouTube.
Right,
I
right.
tell students, you got to go see people. YouTube is good, but it's a tool. You got to
Mhm.
go see people play. That emotional connection to what they're doing, you can't replace.
Right.
So he did that. And at the end of the night, um, he was like, "Man, you're going to be all right. You sound great. Let's
Mhm.
stay in contact." And we stayed in contact. I have pictures of him. He would come back to Boston. I remember one time he was playing on the water and I couldn't even get to him. It's like 150,000 people. He was backstage. I run around to the back. They wouldn't let me through. I was like, "Yo, I know the guy," but I could see him.
Mhm.
I just yelled out. I was like, "Chick,
Yeah.
it's Richard Johnson." Right. He turned around and was like, and
Yeah.
let me through.
Okay, okay.
You know?
That's beautiful, that's beautiful. So this song is dedicated to him, Korea.
Yep.
Okay, let's check it out. Korea by Richard Johnson. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Chick Baby. That's
Yeah.
all inspired by him.
Yes. Beautiful. That's a great tune, man. Boom,
Yeah,
boom, boom, ba dum, ding, ding,
yeah,
ding.
it's catchy, right? It's
Along the bang.
like, yeah.
And it took me a minute to check the time because I heard these boom, 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 ba dum, ding, 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 and I was like, okay, is it a different time? I said, no, it's just hits. Okay.
Yeah, it's just hits. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Cats be writing in 7 and all kinds
Yeah,
of stuff.
I'd be like, oh, let me get my pencil and my calculator.
Exactly. I
Okay.
got my pen right here, bro.
Yeah.
Right measures out. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
here we
Nah,
go.
I'm trying to swing and make it feel good. So when the
Yeah.
people leave, they'd be like, get that guy back here.
Yeah. No, it was cool, man. Beautiful. So who's on that recording?
That's a saxophone player in Chicago, Jeff Bradfield. He
Okay.
teaches at NIU, great saxophone player, bass clarinet player. John Tate on bass. He went to Juilliard. He was in New York and he studied with Ron Carter.
Okay.
And Sam Jewell on drums. Great guy. He plays with everybody who comes to town, swinging.
Yep. Nice. Beautiful. It's a great band, man. I enjoy
Yeah,
it.
and we did that here in my studio.
Okay.
I have a recording studio. We can do big bands. I have 2 pianos, and so during COVID, that's what I was doing. I actually built it as a performance space, and then I can seat 60. When COVID hit, nobody was going to performances, so I was like, well, now what am I going to do with this? And I was like, oh, maybe I'll turn it into a studio.
Okay.
Me and my dad just started building baffles, and I bought all the mics and we set it up, and everyone was home writing music. So I started a farm music and people just come and record all day.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, it's a great project, man. Great project. I enjoyed that.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah. So let's continue with some more music that you share with us. I'm excited about this next one to hear the story because this is unlike the Richard Johnson not that I knew, but now that I know you got 2 Spanish degrees. I'm like, okay, that's where the salsa comes from.
Yeah. My younger brother, he's completely fluent. He started learning young when we were in Boston from his friends. And he used to always tell me, you might want to learn Spanish. It has several benefits. And I was like, oh, okay. And to be honest, one of my dreams was always to meet J-Lo. So I was like, I gotta learn this Spanish just in case, I'm in New York and I got a gig. So I started studying, and then over time it just got better and better and better. And then I would always dabble with playing. But then I said, you know what, let me just jump right in. And I started going. I'd been to every country in South America, but I went to Colombia and just kept going back, sometimes 2-3 times a year, spending lots of time there. So this next song is all recorded in Cali because that's basically the salsa capital of the world. It's pretty crazy there. Like every other block, there's a group playing, and people didn't believe me, but there's music everywhere. So I met a bunch of people there at school and started hanging out, learning, playing. And I said, I'm gonna record a project here. And I happened to be awarded a grant from Peabody that allowed me to do all that and stay there. So I just went and got all the original cats from like Grupe Nietzsche and just everybody. And I wrote all the music and I said, hey, here it is, do your thing. And we did almost all of it there, a little bit in my studio, but that's how this came up. And it's called No Voy a Parar, which is I'm not gonna stop.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how it got happening.
Okay. Well, hey, no voy a parar. Let's check it out. Yeah.
cantarle al mundo entero quiero yo, brindarles mi talento, es mi intención, con esta ambición mía, pero no con avaricia, avanzo hacia la meta con la mirada fija. Sabes que yo no voy a parar, ten la certeza que yo la voy a luchar. Sabes que yo no voy a parar, ten la certeza que yo la voy a luchar. Sabes que yo no voy a parar, ten la certeza de que yo la voy a luchar. Sabes que yo no voy a parar, vengo peleando por la mía, de la misma forma como yo te lo decía. Sabes que yo no voy a parar, sin miedo y con valentía, sabiendo que fácil no sería. Sabes que yo no voy a parar, llené mi maleta con una ilusión, sin avaricia, pero con la mirada fija. Sabes que yo no voy a parar, ten la certeza que yo la voy a luchar.
All right, all right. Sabes yo y pa-do-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it's catchy, isn't it?
That hook, man. That's
The
slick.
hook, that's what it is, baby.
Yeah, man. I would have never known that, bro.
Yeah, that's what I do when I'm not working doing jazz.
Beautiful stuff, man. So all those cats are down there in Colombia.
Yep. Yeah. Well, this vocalist, he got a visa and he's in Florida now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Jay Cadenas.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go to his website, Instagram. He's used to sing with Grupo Nietzsche, one of the biggest salsa bands. So he's great.
Mhm.
His voice is incredible. We did a bunch of gigs in Baltimore. That video was shot half and half in Cali, in Baltimore on the harbor.
The part of the video where you were doing construction, where was that at?
Okay, so that's only about a half a mile from my house in Baltimore.
Okay.
So ironically, when we were doing the gigs, my assistant, who's from Colombia, she does construction on redoing homes. So we were trying to come up with a concept for the video. And she was like, "Oh, I've got a ton of abandoned homes we can go in where workers are fixing up stuff. Here's the equipment, and we can just go in and shoot part of it there." So
Right.
that's what we did one morning. So it worked out great.
Yeah, I was like, okay, check you out doing a heavy lifting.
Yeah, well, trying to act like it, you know.
Yeah. It's all good, bro.
Yeah.
Great song, man. Great song.
Thank
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, so again, I'm gonna throw this next one in there because this is a left turn from what we just listened to. It's on the hip hop vein. This one is the cutoff. Right?
Yeah. This I wrote because I wanted to do something that was definitely jazz, but when I go to do school workshops and programs for kids that are like 12th grade and below, I wanted something that had a little bit more of a pocket. So I could explain the similarities and how they can work together.
Right.
So I wanted to write a song that if they just heard the drums or the groove, they'd be like, okay, yeah. And then when I drop all the harmony improvisation on it, they can be like, oh, okay, they can start to understand what's happening.
Right. Okay.
So that's kind of the conception of this. And that's why at the end, I wanted it to just ride out with the drummer, who's Mark Whitfield Jr.
Yeah.
Just like it's an old school 80s hip hop, and just let it die out.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, let's check it out. The Cutoff. Ding, 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 funky.
Quest, baby.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, man. We're running out of time, bro. I have so many questions for you, but we'll talk offline. But I want to get this last song in because
Okay, cool.
this is like this is up there. This is energy. I love it. Let's just jump into this song and then we could talk about it after. Okay.
Okay, cool. No problem.
1324 Broadway. This is your tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All here's one because two decided to go home. All here's one because three has left me all alone. Can you hear the one because four is so far away? All I hear is one. Come on now, band, let's play. Something similar, reminding me of four. Three likes to be seen and acts like he likes to. Three always wants to be the one showing off what he can do. Back to me, I think that I like two a little better than the three. Can you hear the two? He's right next to one. I can't hear the four because two is too much fun. Last but not least, we end up on four. He's the cutest one, but some of
1324 Broadway. I could only imagine the story behind that.
Yeah, it's all about Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of the main streets in Baltimore, right up from John Hopkins Hospital, and you just never know what you're going to run into.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's come up, it's changed a lot, but you just don't know. I mean, you don't know who's going to be on the street. It could be hood one minute, it could be completely not. I mean, and that song represents that. So there's 4 different sections, and each section modulates a minor third.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets a little bit more tense and more difficult, and that's why everybody has a different solo section.
Right.
The lyrics I wrote are talking about the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers are talking about each other.
Right.
They actually represent people.
Right.
How they relate. So there's a lot of different levels to it.
It's a beautiful song. I like the fact that the theme came back with the singer doing her thing, like you said, 4 different sections.
Mm-hmm.
It was rephrased, but then they set up another soloist. I found it to be interesting because most songs you hear, melody, solo, melody. And this was like melody, solo, but it's a different version of the melody on those hits at that tempo. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I learned from Wynton Marsalis. One of the things we do in jazz is we got intro, melody, solo, melody, outro. It's over pretty much all the time. So it becomes pretty predictable.
Mm.
But why does it have to be that? It could be whatever you want, and what you can imagine. And I'm thinking as a customer, a listener, just as we may lose them as an improviser, if we go back to the melody, they may say, oh, okay, here, this is where we're at.
Right.
You take them out, you bring them a little back, give them a little more, bring a little back, right? That way you can kind of keep them involved as well as keep the musicians involved.
Yeah. It was beautiful, man. Great concepts, bro, from your concept of education and always staying on top of the information and your physical training to, just your creative ideas, like working with the MBA, open door policy. I mean, all of the things you talked about has just been great, man. I really thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to just be here and share the time with us, man. Unfortunately, our time is up, but I would love for you to come back and let's continue our conversation.
Yeah, we didn't get into the running around the world, running across the US. There's all kind of stuff. But, I want to say thank you to you for all the things you're doing here with the different artists. This is really needed in the world today, but especially in jazz, because people need to understand the stories. I went back and I listened to Donald Vegas, the episode you did with him, Bobby Broom, Godwin Louis, and these are all people I have relationships with.
Right.
And I'm learning. So it's like we're learning from each other. So this is great for the musicianship bonding, but it's also good for the world to have, because in 80 years, people can reference all this information.
Definitely. And we didn't really have a platform for this. That's one of the reasons why I decided to do this, because, when this opportunity came up, I was not even thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? I had a conversation with my wife, and she was like, D, you in St. Thomas, and, you're not around all the cats like you used to be. So this is a good way for you to stay connected as well. So it serves many different purposes. But for me, I think I'm in the best seat just getting to hang out with my boys.
I hear you.
My boys. And all the cats that I love playing with and grew up playing with and mentored, some have mentored me and vice versa. So
great, and there's a lot we didn't get to. We didn't talk about our years with Faddis.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said I would love to have you back.
Oh man, there's a whole bunch of stuff we can get to.
Yeah, we haven't caught up, but I appreciate you, man, and again, continued success to you, and just keep doing what you're doing. I'll be in touch. We'll be able to connect and make some other things happen as well. But before you leave, let our audience know how they can follow you, how they can get your music, any gigs coming up.
You could go to Instagram, Richard Johnson Jazz. It's pretty straightforward. My website, RJ Jazz. Pretty straightforward. Richard Johnson's a pretty common name, so if you type in my middle initial D or Duran, it will come up. So I'm very accessible, and you spell it like this, Richard Johnson. You can look on the screen, you can find it.
Yes.
And yeah, I have a podcast too, Music is Business, which is designed for late high school and early college students. You can find me there, and my business website, afarmusic.com. So any of those platforms, you know, just find me, and I'll get back to you. I respond to everybody.
Beautiful. Beautiful, man. Well, thank you again, and continued success, man. You
Yeah.
take care and enjoy the rest of your career, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. All the best. Yes, that's the one and only, the one and only Mr. Richard Johnson, sharing all of his information, stories, and music with us. Really go check him out. He has a lot to offer, a lot of wealth of information and great music. Okay. But in the meantime, come back and join us next week as we bring you another great artist. Someone is from Baltimore as well, but grew up, I met him in New York. The one and only TK Blue saxophonist. He's going to be sharing his music and story with you as well. So come back and join us next week for another episode of Sounds of the Diaspora. I look forward to seeing you. In the meantime, you guys stay safe. Have a beautiful evening. Take care. See you soon.